Thank you so much. I appreciate the invitation to be here today. I was over with Rick earlier today on a part of the state that's really quite far away, and we were remarking that he was closer to my home and I was closer to his home today. But that, you know, reaching out and touching every part of this state and not writing anything off is really a hallmark of this type of effort. But let me start by telling you, if I look a little bit familiar to you, and I know I'm somewhat new to your area, new to you, you're not new to me. I've spent a lot of time right here in this city. The hospital not too far from here is in the process of fixing my little girl's heart, and it's just amazing things happen here in Washtenaw County. The reason why you see, statistically speaking, this area leading the way economically around the state. There's a lot that we can learn from the kind of things that are happening right here. But if I look a little familiar to you, there was a fourth grader one time explained that to me. I took him out on the House floor with his class or visiting the Capitol, and at the end I took some questions. This kid raised his hand, I called on him, and he said, well, I don't really have a question for you. I just wanted to say, you look just like Spider-Man. Now that was in 2007. I thought, well, this is pretty cool. You know, I don't get compared to superheroes all that often. In fact, that's the only time it's ever happened. But I was really curious when he walked out. I said, hey, what is it about me that reminds you of Spider-Man? And he said, well, I guess it's not really Spider-Man. It's that dorky guy before he becomes Spider-Man. So I learned a very important lesson that day. Don't ask fourth graders questions you don't already know the answer to. You know, my experience in the state legislative process has been very frustrating, because I think we've had a lot of opportunities, a lot of resources, a lot of tools in the state that have not been utilized. And it's really a cultural problem that's risen up within our political system, within our government system, that has erected all kinds of obstacles and barriers to finding solutions. But they're only barriers if we let them be barriers. And the thing I find so exciting about Rick's attitude, and one that I've tried to take to our government today, is that this garbage about east side versus west side, or inner city versus rural, or Republican versus Democrat, or class warfare, or racial divides, and all of these things, all of this nonsense that we've let get in the way of the areas where we can find some commonality or some agreement on, have really been the hallmark of our government as of late. And that's why we need to have a fresh start. We need to make a very conscious decision to say we are going to reject those things, we're going to reject those attitudes, and we're going to make a special effort to understand where the people on the other side of the table from us are coming from. What is it about their community and their upbringing and their family and their friends and their career and where they come from, all the things that made them them? Can we demonstrate to each other that we really understand where we're all coming from? It's half the battle, it really is. And to my experience is that you can find agreements, you can find solutions on very complicated areas of public policy if you come into it with an attitude like it's possible in the first place. And so that's what I'm asking for from candidates around the state. That's what I'm asking for from our government. And so what would this plan, what would this vision look like? Well, we're leading not with a political party, and we're not leading with some sort of a rigid set of ideologies that would hallmark or highlight the differences between us. Instead, we're just presenting solutions with a set of values that it turns out span a political divide a lot wider than what you would think is possible. So this idea of economic gardening instead of economic hunting. Now, all of you who are part of businesses in your own right, you know that if your business is struggling, that you're going to focus on your current customers, making sure they're satisfied, making sure that they're healthy, making sure that they have a future before you go out soliciting new ones.
I have the largest number of Fortune 500 companies, Japanese-owned companies, located in my city than any other city. 60% of my tax base comes from my commercial business base. Only 30% comes from residential. So I must learn, respect, partner, support my business community. So when I come to talk to chambers, I'm very comfortable and excited about the opportunity. I want to tell you about the passion that mayors have for the business community. Our economic base relies so much on your success. So it's incumbent upon us to know what you do, support what you do, and find ways to help you grow or remove any barriers. And that's what I think is so powerful about the ticket that I'm on. Now I want to talk to you about Virg Bernero, who is the mayor of Lansing. He is proud to say that during his 5 years as mayor, over $500 million has been invested in his city. You know, I like to use the example to kind of give a picture to you of the understanding I have of economic development. Lear Corporation, one of the largest Tier 1 automotive suppliers, was in the position where they either had to move, expand, and they were looking out of state, any place in Michigan, and staying in Southfield. Man, did we have to roll up our sleeve and sell the city and fight for them to stay there. Now, to get them to stay there with over $80 million investment in expansion, we had to do brownfields, we had a mega, we had TIFAs, we had environmental issues, we had to acquire homes and deal with community forums. Almost every single tool you need for economic development was put into place to support this company staying in Michigan and staying in our city. And I can repeat this story so many times about the experience that I have with our business community. Before I open it up for questions, and I do want to do that, I think it's critical for us to understand in our economy here in Michigan that you need that experience, and not only experience but sensitivity. I understand what it means when one of my small businesses come to me, and they have told us this all over the state, that, Mayor, I could have 50 new jobs today if I could get a loan. My dollar store said that, Mayor, I don't know what I'm going to do. They cut off my line of credit. That during the holidays or whatever, I would use my line of credit so that I can increase my inventory so I can do business and sell. And so one of the things that I think is very powerful about the leadership of Virg Bernero is that he understands we need to reform our government. And we can't continue to do the same thing that we've been doing in the past and expect different results. Now, I've heard this every single city I've gone to in this great state on this campaign trail, and I live with it in my city. What are we going to do? We can't get along. And you know, it's the same banks that were given bailouts and whatever happened, but there is a corporate policy now that Michigan is a bad economy, and we've pretty much been redlined. So Virg Bernero said, you know, in North Dakota, they have a state bank, and they take the state tax dollars that we take as well. We take our tax dollars and put it in banks that don't reinvest. But in North Dakota, they put their state dollars in their state banks. So this is Virg Bernero's proposal. Why don't we, and this is what he plans to do as governor, start our own state bank, take our state dollars, that tax dollars, invest them in this, and not to be in competition with our community banks or our credit unions, partner with them, and let's start loaning money to our small businesses. Because ladies and gentlemen, we were in a depression as a country. What kickstarted our economy was not some big mega company. It was those small mom and pops